We have our application here running with our registration function completed, most of it. But currently we have a problem. We cannot show our login and finish registration function. So what we need to do is in our home view, when we click on a basket, before we show this, we want to make sure that our user is logged in. And in order to do that, we are going to go to our home screen. If you scroll down where our button is, here it says basket, and then we have this sheet here, which is checking if our basket was clicked or no. And then we just display our order basket view here. But what we want to do here is to check if our user is logged in, and if he is logged in, we are going to show order basket. Otherwise, if he is not logged in, we want to show our login screen. So let's say if, and here comes our handy function, fuser.currentUser, and we are going to check if we have a local user. So if this is not equals to nil, it means we have a local user. And also what we want to check is that if our user was onboarded or no. So we say, and we say fuser.currentUser, and now I can force unwrap this because the first thing we are checking if it's not nil. Okay, and I have a typo here. Let me go to my fuser and fix this. Current user, and we go back here and fix this one as well. And once we have our current user, we are going to check if the onboarding was done. So I access my onboarding variable, and we are going to check if this is true. So again, this if statement checks if we have local user and if onboarding is true. And if it's true, we want to show our order basket because everything is fine, our user can proceed. Then we have two other options here. We will have else if, then we check if we have a current user, fuser.currentUser is not equals to nil. So it means we have a current user, but the onboarding wasn't done. So what we want to show in this case is our finish registration view. So I will say finish registration view, and I will initialize it. And finally, else statement will just show our login because we don't have a fuser object, and we don't have our onboarding anyway. So we want to show our login view. So let's try and see if this function is working. I'm going to rerun my application. And now if I click on my login screen, to my basket button, it brings me my login screen. And this is happening because our fuser current user is currently nil, because we haven't saved anything in our user defaults, or we haven't even registered with our user in our Firebase. So let's go to our authentication here. You will see that we have no users. And let's try to sign up with a user. So let's say email. And remember, here you are going to put some kind of email that you have access to it, so it's a real email, because you have to go to your email address and you have to verify and click the link. So I'm going to say iosdevschool@gmail.com. Password, I will put password, and repeat password. And let's click on sign up. And let me actually open here to see what we have printed. It says user have been created, verification email sent, error is nil. So our user object was created, and we can actually refresh here to see our user object. See that iosdevschool at gmail.com. Provider, this means that this user has registered with email, created the date, last sign in the date, and the most important thing is we have our user ID, which we are going to use in order to create a user in our database. Because if we go to our database, right now we haven't created any user object here, so we don't have access to our user. And now if we go back to our screen here, what we want to do once our user is created is to create a fuser object in our Firebase as well. So this is the next thing we are going to do in our next lecture.